Welcome to Get to the Point with Larry Goins, the best 10-minute podcast in real estate investing.
Hey, this is Larry Goins. Welcome to this episode of Get to the Point, the podcast that's 5, 10, 15 minutes long, something like that, depending on the day, but it's short and to the point on a specific topic because you don't have time to be listening to an hour-long podcast, and I know it. So anyway, today we're going to talk about some advanced seller financing strategies and techniques, okay? As a real estate investor, I'm a firm believer there's only one thing wrong with real estate, and that's tenants. Now, I do have some tenants, but my tenants are like Dollar General, Shoney's Restaurants, Advance Auto Parts, okay? Those are the kind of tenants you want, but I don't like residential tenants. Well, not everybody can go out and buy a Dollar General, and I know that. I get it. I understand that. But check this out. There's a way you can use residential real estate and get the cash flow that you need and you want without having to deal with the 4 T's of property management. What are the 4 T's? Tenants, trash, termites, and toilets. And the way to do that is to use seller financing. I love seller financing. It's because you get the cash flow without the headache, okay? Let me just give you a rundown on a quick scenario. We did a deal recently where we bought a house for $2,000. We bought it from direct mail, and we sent out a postcard to what we call absentee owners. These are people who do not live in the property, okay? They own a property, but they live somewhere else. So you could get those lists at places like Melissa Data or listsource.com. Anyway, we sent out a postcard. We found this property. I think they were asking $7,000, and we offered them and got the property for $2,000. Okay. Anyway, so we bought the property for $2,000. We put a big banner out there that says, own this house for payments less than rent, and with a low down payment. So we sold the property for, check it out, $2,000 down. So now all we really have in the property is closing costs. We sold it with $2,000 down, and we sold it for $15,000 total purchase price, but we financed $13,000, okay? And we financed it over 5 years, and their payment was literally less than rent. Now, don't get me wrong, it's not a really nice house. It's not livable yet. It's close to livable, but it's not livable yet. So we're selling it to a person who wants to build some equity and go out there and do the work themselves and create some sweat equity. And that's exactly who we're selling this property to. Somebody who's going to buy it, they're going to fix it up, and they're either going to live in it or they're going to rent it out. You can do seller financing with investors and with owner occupants. Now, here's the thing. If you are selling a house to an individual that's going to live in it, you need to make sure that you comply with Dodd-Frank. If you don't know what that is, Google the term Dodd-Frank seller financing. It's a regulation that was created for mortgage brokers and lenders and banks, but it had a clause in there that says if you're selling a house with seller financing and it is not your primary residence that you're selling, and you're selling it to a person who is going to live in the house as their primary residence, then you must comply with Dodd-Frank. Now, if you're selling a house to an investor, forget about it. You don't need to worry about Dodd-Frank. But if you're selling your house to a consumer, just remember, consumers have rights. Very, very important about that, okay? In fact, I've done so much research on Dodd-Frank, I know more about it than Dodd or Frank. And if you want to get more information about Dodd-Frank, I wrote a 16-page report called Everything You Need to Know About How Dodd-Frank Affects Seller Financing and How to Comply. And if you go to LarryGoins.com and type in Dodd-Frank in the search box, you will see that report pop up, okay? And it's absolutely free. You can download it absolutely free. I'll even mail you one for free if you want me to, and I'll pay the shipping. Anyway, let's get back to this. If you are selling your house to an individual and you have to comply with Dodd-Frank because they're going to live in it, there's several things that they must have what's called the ability to pay, okay, which means you can't sell somebody a house with a payment that you know up front they can't afford. If they make $1,000 a month and all their bills already added up are $900 a month, they can't afford your $300 payment, okay? It's not going to happen. So You need to keep their debt ratio around 43% or less. Also, you can't have an adjustable rate mortgage that adjusts for the first 5 years. And then it can only adjust 2% a year for a maximum of 6% total. I just stay away from that, and I do straight fixed rate loans, okay? And also you just got to be careful that you don't charge them too high of an interest rate, all right? You want to keep your interest rate around market. And from what I've heard recently and talked to other attorneys about this, as long as you stay below 10%, you should be okay. Listen, you can get more information about Dodd-Frank over at my website, but let's just talk about the seller finance aspect of it, okay? I love the way that you do these deals because you make your money on the spread between what you paid for it and what you sold it for, okay? Like my little $2,000 deal. I could do that with a $20,000 property. You buy a nice decent property for 20 grand and you turn around and you sell it for $49,900 or $59,900. Let's just say you sold it for $49,900, but you got $5,000 down. Well, you're basically financing $44,900. So I have 20 in it. I got $5,000 down, so now I really have 15 in it. So I'm financed $44,900, and say I did that over 10 years in 8 or 10% interest rate, and say my payment's $500 a month. Well, I'm getting $6,000 a year. 500 times 12 is $6,000 a year. I have $15,000 in it. That's better than a 30% return on my money. Okay, you can use a financial calculator to figure it. In fact, I suggest that you go out and get yourself an HP 12C. You can get one for your smartphone, and it's probably going to cost you around $10 or $15 because the real one is like $40, $50, $60. But you can get one for your smartphone as well. It's an HP 12C, and it'll allow you to calculate the yield and the return and all that good stuff. But you make your money because, see, I only have $15,000 in this deal, but I'm collecting 8 or 10% on $44,000. So I'm making a huge spread. So that's the beautiful thing about seller financing. So go out there and look for a deal that you can do seller financing with. If you have money to spend, that's awesome. Another technique that you can use is you can go out and borrow money at 8 or 10 or even 15%, and then go out and buy a property and then do that same kind of deal. Say I borrowed $15,000 from somebody and I paid them 10%. Say I paid them interest only. Well, 10% interest only on $15,000 is going to be $1,500 a year. I'll make that up in the first few payments that they give me. I'll have paid my interest for the whole year. So that's another way you can do it, is you make your money not only on the spread, but you borrow the money. Then my yield is infinite. I can't even figure my yield, it's so high, because it's not even my money that I'm investing. So go out there and try to do some seller financing deals. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Get to the Point. I'm Larry Goins, and be sure and subscribe to the podcast if you haven't already, or check out LarryGoins.com, and I'll see you on the next episode. Thanks a lot, and have a great day.